All right, guys. Welcome back to Comic Aussie. Welcome back to Inside the YouTube studio. It's been a little bit. I've been quite busy, actually very busy, trying to navigate myself on whatnot. I'll be honest with you, it's taken up a lot of time, but I'm trying to find my way through it, and I need to find more time to make content you on a more frequent basis. So I thought couldn't bring her in, but her name kind of speaks for itself. I'm just going to say it. Today we're talking with Moonlit Comics. I'm going to bring her in.
Hi, Q.
Hi, there we go. I kept it nice and loose. And you know what? Your name kind of speaks for itself. As soon as you say it, everybody knows who you are, right?
Oh, I'm honored to hear you say that. Thank you so much. And I'm honored to be here and just to have received an invite from you for this show. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Well, when I said in the intro, because I've been really busy with whatnot, trying to establish an audience, getting my sales, getting all the books. It takes a lot of time. So it took a tiny bit of a hiatus through Inside the YouTube studio. And honestly, I contacted you. You were the first one that was like, all right, I need a kind of introduction. And you were the perfect person because you're kind of the I'm going to say this, like you're kind of the little bit of the glue that kind of connects, or the little string that kind of connects a lot of the channels. Because that's how you kind of really got your channel started, is because you were pretty much on everybody else's channel, right?
Yeah, I'd say you're correct in that. And that's kind of why I started my channel, was because I kept making guest appearances on other friends' channels. And then after a while, I said, I started finding reasons why I wanted my own platform. And I still love making guest appearances and hanging out with friends, but it's been a different experience to be able to invite my friends now over onto my channel. It's been really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what we usually do is, like I said to you backstage when we were just kind of talking about this, it's a very casual chat. What I usually start with is, for a lot of people who possibly don't know you, who are watching this, I want you to give like a little paint picture right now where Moonlit Comics, your channel, your YouTube channel is right now. Like, what do you have? If you have anything like concurrent, or we're going to talk about your future stuff later on, but just where the channel sits right now.
Sure. So, I'm pretty new still in the YouTube world. I think I only have like maybe 12 or 13 videos so far. So I'm kind of still just starting out, still trying to kind of figure out where I want to take things. But so far, I'm approaching month 5 of my comic book spotlight series. So that's kind of been like the longest running series I've been doing. And that's a show where I have a different theme each month, and I invite 3 friends to bring books in their collection that fit the theme. Because you were there.
Yeah,
you were
awesome.
there for Moon Knight Mayhem.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoy it. And so I did a Magazine Madness episode, the Moon Knight Mayhem one that you were on. We did a Ghost Rider themed show, a Doctor Strange sorcery special, and then actually next week I'll be doing a Doctor Strange and Company vampire takeover type of thing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so like Dracula, Morbius, Blade, like Lilith, even maybe like vampires from movies that you see in some of these magazines that I like to collect. So that should be fun. I'm really looking forward to that, but I plan to keep that going once a month though. So right now, I took a little break after I finished the Moon Knight series review, because that was every week and it took me a lot of time to prepare.
That's right, yeah.
So, and then the last video I uploaded was the Doctor Strange comic book spotlight. So I'll be back next week after a little hiatus, and I'm looking forward to it. I've done a review. I did a review for volume 1, 2, and 3 of Philadelphia, which is one of my favorite modern series. And I was able to do an artist spotlight with my friend Tim Stacy. Are you familiar with Tim Stacy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, he's amazing, super talented, and I commissioned him to do a Moonlit piece for me.
I saw that. That was awesome. That was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I loved him, Stacey. So it was great just to have my own platform to invite him on, interview him, reveal the commission, and I want to do more things like that going forward. So that's kind of what things have been so far.
You, in terms of, sorry, just clicked in my head.
No, you're good.
The artist, because you also had, because I won the book, who's done a couple covers for Primordial, right?
Oh yeah, my friend Brent.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
He is. He's really cool, and that's another thing I want to do. I want to do more spotlight episodes for my creator and artist friends. Including Brent, the variant that you won for Primordial 4 was his very first comic book cover.
Oh, okay.
So he's a big comic nerd and a very talented artist, but that was the first time that he was able to combine the two. So it was really special. Like I have my friend John, who's a writer, who just put out his very first comic called Endangered. So we're going to plan to do a little interview there. I have so many awesome friends that are so talented, and I think it'll be cool to maybe try to keep up with that series too, you know?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do like an artist specific spotlight. I always felt it, how do I say this, like asking them, I'm like, oh, they're just gonna say no, but you know,
yeah,
unless you really ask, they're never, you know, you'll never get the answer. So
yeah, and I feel way more comfortable doing that with like someone I already consider a friend. So instead of like reaching out to a creator that I don't know or that I'm not too familiar with, so I understand like the hesitation to ask for that. But yeah, so I'm gonna start with my friends first and then go from there. You know?
Right, that's the best way to do it. Like, I mean, when I started doing my videos, I was just like, I reached out to all my friends, like, can you do this with me? Can you do this? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem, right? That's how kind of it blossomed, right?
That's how it's been with me. I mean, and luckily, like you mentioned, like I've gotten to know so many people in the community from different channels and different groups, and it's been fun to kind of bring people together that maybe wouldn't normally have done a stream together, and just to have this pool of amazing personalities to collaborate with, including you. It's just been amazing. This community is fantastic. I can't see my life without this now. Like, it's the best community in the world.
It's crazy. I know. And like what you said, you put the time and effort into the creative process of it, but it's because we love it. Like nobody's getting, for the most part, nobody's getting paid to do a lot of this stuff, right? Like, in terms of monetizing this, it's like, you know, there's few and far between that a lot of people do it. We just do it for the love of hanging out with everybody, for the love of the books, you know, etc. So I find that really intriguing.
Yeah, it's a passion project, you know, and I guess eventually, you know, it would be nice for any of us to have the amount of subscribers and views to monetize, or to have other opportunities open up, and that's great. But I don't think that's why any of us started our YouTube channels. It's just to have a platform to connect with in a different way with our friends who share this passion for comic books and all the other things that come with this hobby. And it's truly unique. I had no idea that this existed, you know, just a couple years ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out on this, you know, for my whole life, for years, you know?
Well, I think, I don't know if we were missing out, but I think it's just, like this whole engine, this whole thing kind of got started only a few years ago. So I don't think most people were missing out. Like, maybe there's a select few that were on and doing some creative stuff like before them. But I think within the past, I think we can all say like a lot of the channels were created in the past 2 years, I would say. Most of them.
You know, you're probably right. That's a good point. I think a lot of this, especially YouTube, was fueled by the pandemic and live streams and StreamYard and all of these platforms, I think, have definitely been on the rise since 2020.
It was just a different way to hang out, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hang out with people of like mind. That for me, that was the whole draw to it.
Yeah. Like, I never even knew that there were live streams on YouTube before the comic community. And when I discovered those, just being able to hang out in the chat, or, you know, have the person hosting the video, like, highlight your comment or like involve. It's so interactive and it's so fun. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is so fun.
Right. You know what? There's a couple common threads in a lot of people who create on a regular basis or participate on a regular basis is the chat. And I also find like that such a dynamic thing. The live streaming, sure, I understand that, but everything that happens in the chat, the people you connect with, the friends you make, or even like you said, like when you're in there and someone, you have an idea or a comment and it gets highlighted, even if it's just your friend's channel, there's like a kind of involvement, like a feeling that you get that, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. You don't really get that in many other places, right?
Right. Yeah. It's definitely unique. And I've met a lot of people through the live chats on YouTube. Or it's cool when you recognize somebody, you recognize their Instagram handle and you see them in the live chat. It's like, hey, like you're instant friends, like more so than you already were. Like, it's just cool.
Yeah, it is a very interesting thing that happens. It was so new to me.
Same, yeah. And I love that for the most part, the Instagram world and the YouTube world are kind of, they feel like one and the same almost. There are some people that you never see around YouTube that are on Instagram, but a lot of it overlaps.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, and that gets talked about in like live streams, chats. People are like, did you see this person's post today, or do you follow this person because they have some great content and whatnot?
Yeah.
So, it's I don't know. It's really hard to like, if a person who really doesn't follow these kind of channels or follow people on Instagram, it's really hard to describe that to just any normal person. When I try and describe it to my friends, like my good friends, I probably see and talk to people in the community more so than I talk to like my best friends. And when I try to explain it to them, like, okay, sure, yeah, right. You're gonna go on your YouTube show tonight.
It's really hard to explain. Like I tend to explain it to my non-comic book friends as like a book club. I'll just say, yeah, it's like a book club. I have this. Actually, last night I did a stream, or Saturday night, for Swamp Thing, so my friend Dan at Comic Shop News is hosting an actual book club for Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. So that was not a lie to call that a book club, because it is. But like I tend to that seems like a book club resonates with other people more than anything else. I don't know how.
Right. Yeah, they understand it. Yeah, they understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're getting together. I'm like, it's kind of like a Zoom call, but live on YouTube, and we're talking about comics. And some people get it, some people don't. Some people are like, oh, that's cool, sure, and they'll never ever watch, they'll never tune in, and they don't care. But yeah, but for the most part, like my non-comic book friends and my family have been very supportive of this, and they see that it makes me happy, and so that's all I can really ask for. But yeah, you don't really get it unless you're in the community,
right. Yeah, I agree. The people that do really, I do have, as you get older, the only the people that I really love that are kind of around, they do get it. They're like, hey, how is it going? Or like, how, like even my mother, she's like, oh, she's so interested. She has no comic book knowledge whatsoever, but she knows it makes me happy, right? Yeah. So she'll ask. So that's fun.
For sure.
So we have a little bit of a picture. I mean, I know even for me, my channel is still fairly new in terms of like the amount of videos and content. So what I usually like to do is I rewind, and I like to go back to the point where you decided that you're going to create this channel. Like you kind of alluded to it, but I also would like to, because I know it's a really it's a heartfelt story, and I know some of it, how you got back into collecting, or you got back into comics, right? And I want to touch on that.
Into comics for the very first time ever.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I liked it. So let's talk about how you got to the channel, but then I want to also revisit that story if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I don't mind at all. So okay. The reason I decided to create my YouTube channel. So like we briefly talked about, I was making guest appearances on other people's channels and shows, which at that point, that was so nerve-wracking. I was just so nervous to even do that, transitioning from Instagram. And the very first time I attempted to appear on a YouTube show was with Team Nerd Herd.
Okay.
I still love those guys. Actually, shout out to JR and Alonzo, who sent me this Star Wars Celebration t-shirt.
Oh, they went, right? Yeah.
And they just had that in Anaheim. And we'll get into it when I talk about my collecting origin, but Star Wars means a lot to me. And so they were able to get me a t-shirt and ship it over. And it just came in the mail today, so that's why I have it on. So my first attempt was to join them for their 1,000 subscriber giveaway. And I planned to contribute, books for the giveaway, which I did. But knowing nothing about StreamYard or anything, I tried to use my laptop, which, was running on Wi-Fi. I was sitting in the kitchen and it was a disaster. It was lagging the whole time. I could barely get a word in and it just didn't work. Okay. So then I realized, okay, if I'm going to do anything like this, I have to be on the desktop connected to a router. So my boyfriend was like, well, just use my office, because he has kind of a gaming setup, like a streaming setup. And that worked out great. So, the next time I made an appearance as a guest on a friend's channel, everything ran smoothly. And I was like, okay, wonderful. He has a microphone and a camera.
Nice. Okay.
And so over the next several months, I started taking over his office a lot. Like I would be in there a lot. I'd be like, sorry, babe, you can't play your game for the next hour because I have something to do.
How did he react to that? He's like, okay.
He was fine with it, but it actually led to him for Christmas this past year buying me everything I needed to create the setup that you see now. So
that's awesome.
It was so awesome. I couldn't believe, and he surprised me with everything. I mean, he bought me the laptop, the ring light, the microphone, the webcam, basically everything that he had in his streaming setup, he kind of replicated for me, except for on a laptop. And then, I was able to kind of put a desk together and shelves and just kind of make this room also my YouTube studio. But so the first video I ever did for my channel was a review of the Moonlit trailer. So, as you know, I'm a big fan of Moon Knight as a character.
No.
Yes. And I had always kind of planned I wanted to review the trailer, but I didn't want to ask somebody else to host a show reviewing the trailer. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to have to do it. And this is before I had the streaming setup, right? So my very first video was recorded in my boyfriend's office still downstairs. But I said, at the very least, it'll be fun. Even if I don't do anything else after that, I'll invite some friends on, I'll review the Moonlit trailer and go from there. So that's what I did. I was so nervous, but I had so many people show up in the live chat to support me and a great panel of friends. And it was like a 2.5 hour stream just for this damn trailer. And so that kicked things off. I ended up reviewing the Moonlit show, like I told you. And even though I didn't love the show as much as I hoped I would, it was a good experience. Figuring out how I wanted to structure these reviews. Same thing with Philadelphia, taking screenshots and making slides and inviting guests and scheduling StreamYards and all that. So I kind of feel like I'm in my groove. And now that I have this office up here, I have my own space to kind of do things, and I'm getting a lot more comfortable with hosting. Right. So it's been a little journey, and
It takes time. Yeah. It's like you figure out what kind of works and what doesn't work, and then you just plug and play. But I mean, that's the creative process, right? I think a lot of people who are on this are somewhat creative. So in terms of like making the content and getting everything kind of set up, even how everything kind of looks. So I admire that too.
Well, thanks. And another thing I just thought about too. So after I did the trailer review, it was soon after that John had bought me this kind of setup. So that was even more motivation for me to continue with the channel, because I'm like, well, now I really have no excuse. I mean, I have everything that I need. I don't have to bug him to use the office anymore. And now it's evolved where he's even like a moderator on my channel. You'll see him, Mr. Moonlit, in the chat, and it's been great. So huge shout out to him for helping me make this possible. And yeah.
Does he collect as well, or?
No, that's the funny thing. He couldn't really care less about comics. I mean, he cares about comics only because I do.
Okay.
And he has an appreciation for them now because I do, and because I try to teach him things and, you know, let him know about certain books that I buy because I think they're so cool. I mean, I can't help it but share that with him. Like, he really loves like Ghost Rider now, and like especially like when he found out there was a Western version of Ghost Rider from the 60s and stuff. He gets a kick out of certain things like that, but I don't think that he would ever collect comics like on his own. But he's come to conventions with me, and he's met people in the community, and he's had a blast, and he'll help me hunt for things. Or when we went to the 3 Men in a Basement swap, he brought his camera and took a bunch of pictures. And so yeah, he doesn't collect himself, but he's a really, really great supporter.
That's amazing. I actually thought he collected. I thought he was like a Moon Knight fan as well, and like I thought he collected. It was just like a thing I had in my head. Like, but that makes it even that much better that he's just like supporting you and you know, just participating. I find that's great.
Thank you. I think it's great too. He made that YouTube handle kind of as a joke one night, because we would always see some of the other guys in the community, their wives or girlfriends would have like a Lady Sith, Lady No Good, Mrs. So-and-so, and you'd see them in the chat. So I was teasing him one night, and I said, oh, you're going to have to be Mr. Moonlit. And he was like, yeah, right. And then eventually he did make...
That's funny. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's so weird. For some reason also, I think like, I guess in terms of like conceptualizing time, for some reason I thought you have been on a lot longer. It's just a weird thing, right?
On YouTube or?
Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah.
No, let me see. I'll tell you when my first YouTube video was, because now I'm kind of curious. So I did the Moon Knight trailer review 4 months ago.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I've done, let's see, 15 videos. Yeah. So I'm very new still. But
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the newer people also are not. I'm personally, I'm just trying to focus on creating content, my connections and stuff. Someone had to tell me that I think I have over like 300 followers now, but someone had to tell me that. Because I've been like too busy creating and like uploading and editing and stuff like that. It's so funny how it just kind of goes by. Like, and I think a lot of other people, they're more focused on the creative process rather than like all the likes and all the followers and stuff like that, right? And I think I'm getting just that perception. You're just more about like the participation in the community, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course it feels good to see, oh, I got a few new subscribers after that video, or oh, like this video, people must have liked it. I have some comments, or so that feels good. But that's not really like my driving force. It's more of just to have a platform to connect with the community, and if it grows, it grows. Just like my Instagram page, like I created it so I had a separate page on Instagram to share my comics instead of having everything on my personal account. I very, very quickly realized that I needed to keep it separate for different reasons, and I never thought that the Instagram page would grow like it has. Yeah. And so that's been really cool. So I've been on Instagram for a year and like a little over a year. I think March of 2021 is when I created the Instagram, and that was only like 2 months after I started collecting, period. So it's been a whirlwind over the last year and a half, to say the least.
Yeah, you definitely get swept up on it, right?
Yeah, it's been great. But I needed a hobby. I didn't really have a hobby like before this. I would have hobbies here and there for like a couple months, and then I'd move on. But this has been something that I've been able to stick with and stay passionate about. And there's so many different facets of collecting comics. Like you can't really get bored. Like it's not like you can start and then end. Like there's no end to it unless you sell your collection and say I'm done. Like,
or you're only after one book.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with you. You know what? I never really thought of that. There's no, I guess there's some completionists out there who are just after to complete their ASM run or to complete their Fantastic Four run, and they're like, okay, I'm done. But for me, and same with you, it's like, it's like, I want to grab a few more books that are vampire related, or more Werewolf by Night, or more Moon Knight, or stuff like that. So because you're just going down certain rabbit holes.
Right. Like, of course we have goals and interests, and those are going to change. Those are going to shift. But this is not the type of hobby where like you can ever truly be finished. There's always going to be something else to learn, something else to collect or read, or other ways to be involved in the community, YouTube and Instagram, conventions. So I think this was like the perfect hobby for me, because it's not something that I can just give up. And I don't want to, and now I never want to. Right,
I know, I quickly want to touch on, before we get to the story, how you got into collecting. So conventions, one of the being part of somebody's channel, being a guest, hosting, being in the chat is one thing. But when you meet people from that community in person, my God, it's so much fun. Like, it's almost surreal for me. Like, because you brought up conventions and stuff. Yeah. And I've had the privilege, because there's some people that are close to me, and we've met up, and it's been really, really fantastic. How's your experience with that? Because I know you met a whole bunch of people at 3 Men in a Basements. Well, I wish I could have gone to it, but it looked like so much fun. Like, there were so many people there. I'm like, oh, you guys met. Like, it seemed so amazing.
Yeah, that was great. I've had the same experience. I mean, it's surreal, and it's so different from anything I've ever experienced, because you're meeting people for the first time, but it feels like a reunion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels so comfortable, and you're like, oh my God, these people are just as cool in person. Like, it's refreshing. It's nice to when you're able to do that, depending where you live, to meet the people that you've created these friendships with and these connections with online, and that you talk to sometimes every day. When you get to see them in person and hang out and chat and just like get to know them on a different level, it's great. And my first experience with that was at Terrificon last year. And that's in Connecticut. So that's another reason why the 3 Men in a Basement swap was so cool, because it was a lot of the same crowd, just because it's also in Connecticut. So there's a lot of great people on the east, like northeast coast, in the community. And then also, so I'm pretty close to Baltimore, and I went to the Baltimore Comic Convention last year too. Was able to see some people there. Other than those two and the 3 Men swap, I haven't really ventured out, but I have a lot of friends up in Canada. So one day, like, I want to go. I want to go to the Toronto Blue Jays stadium to check that off my list. So, well,
you're gonna have to do it sooner than later, because I think they're gonna take it down.
Are they gonna? Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a set date, but the Sky Dome, I think, might have a time limit on it, so keep that in mind.
Okay. What are they gonna do? Like, are they gonna? The team. What are they gonna do with the team? Are they gonna build a new stadium? Like, I don't know.
They're gonna build a new stadium, but I think it might be out of Toronto. I think, Okay. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that there's talk about that. So they're talking about moving the stadium to, like, I'm gonna say a suburb of Toronto. So.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. Not like, I'm not tied to Toronto, but I just figured that would be like an excuse. It was an
FYI.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. But there's a lot of places that I would visit in Canada. So one of these days I'll have to make it up. And then one of these days you're going to have to make it down here.
I might be going to Terrificon.
Okay, that's exciting because I'm definitely going to be there. It's a great show. Cute. You're going to love it. There's so many people that attend that convention. So many great vendors. It was so much fun. And it's in a casino. And if you want, you can get a room at the casino, or we stayed a little bit off site because we waited until the last minute to buy our hotel. So the prices went way up, but where we stayed off site was a lot cheaper, and they had a free shuttle that ran to and from the casino. So that was neat. But just overall, great
Yeah.
convention. Baltimore was cool, but Terrificon, that's something I want to go to every year.
I think me, Dracula, and Newbie might be coming. So,
that's going to be so fun.
Yeah, we're talking about it right now, so more than likely it's probably going to happen, but we're just everybody's like, oh, I don't know, but as soon as if I book, I know that those guys are gonna be like, okay, let's do it. So
oh no, you got to make it happen. I'm even more
I want to meet you guys. I want to meet guys from Otto and Roger. Meet Defects guys, because I know they're going. I want to meet Guy because he's been such a great supporter. So there's so many people I kind of want to hang out with. East Coast people are awesome, right? They're just
I'd say so.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah.
We have a really big comic community on the East Coast, West Coast too, for sure, on the West Coast. But there's a lot of people in my personal circles just happen to be based on this side of the state. So great crowd. I'm really looking forward to meeting you then in July. It's only a month away. It's insane.
Yeah, I'll let you. I'll definitely let you know what's kind of going on.
We'll chat about it.
We've talked about it, so we might drive down, and so that might happen. So excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to get updates on your plans. That'll be fun.
For sure. All right, so let's. Because I know part of the story, but again, there's going to be people that hopefully that'll watch this. That's, why? It's because I connected to the story because of my dad as well, in terms of how you got into this. So I'm just going to, say it. Let us know how you started collecting.
Yes. Okay. I love telling this story, and I'm sorry for anyone that has already heard it because I don't think you can tell it.
I think you can tell it over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so crazy and special to me. So I didn't read comics as a kid. I never thought I'd ever read comics. I never had any reason to look at a comic book or be interested in the hobby. Like nothing. It just wasn't on my radar, complete. Like I had heard of Comic Cons because, in college working at restaurants in Baltimore, I'd see, everybody dressed up in cosplay, like walking around the city. But that I had no idea that this whole entire world existed until January of 2021. So a year and a half ago. So my dad, I'll start with that. He passed away in 2000. So quite a while ago. I was pretty young when he passed away, and my mom, years later got remarried. My stepdad is amazing. And they decided they were going to move to the beach. When they both retired, they were going to move to Delaware. And as they were preparing to move, they started going through their entire house. They had a bunch of stuff. My mom had like a whole bunch of stuff from our old house after my dad passed away and we moved. I guess a lot of that stuff she kind of stashed in a storage room in the basement of the new place. So none of that stuff had really been looked at for 15 years. And they're preparing. So that stuff. And I thought I already had most of my dad's things. Like, I had some of his things. I had, certain things that you inherit as a kid. I thought that was it. I thought I had everything there was to be had from my dad. So when they were moving, she goes through this storage closet and she's like, yeah, Michelle, you're going to have to come over here because I have a bunch of boxes of stuff from the Crofton house that you need to go through, and a lot of it is your dad's stuff. I was like, really? Like, I had no idea that you still had any of this. And I go over there, it's boxes and boxes of stuff, a ton of stuff. So it took me a while to go through it. And I have a younger brother, it's just the two of us. So I knew that I'd have to kind of separate things and, give him some things, keep some things, figure out what we were going to get rid of. You know how it is.
Right.
So I went through all that. I had, I think, 3 or 4 boxes of things that I took home to here where we live now. And I said, okay, like this is the stuff I'm keeping. I have more time now to kind of like go through it at my leisure. Because it's also an emotional time, you know, when you're 100%. You're going through, yeah. So, but my dad had a lot of cool stuff. Like he was a collector. He had like stamp collection.
You still have the stamps?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, if you're into stamps, I'll have to show you.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk because I'm sorry to interrupt this because I just
you're fine.
I just spoke with my mother and she's been like, I have these things for you. You have to come pick them up. So I'm like, what? She's like, when you were a little kid, you collected stamps, but my grandfather had this massive stamp collection, so I have to go pick it up. It's like 5 big folders full. So
yeah, okay. We're gonna have to chat because I don't know much about stamps and I have never met. Okay, maybe we can like navigate this together because there's a lot to learn. I have never dove into like that realm. But yeah, and also, so my grandfather worked at the Pentagon and he would get letters. Yeah, he would get letters from like different countries. So it looks like that he would ask people to save their stamps or have people send him stamps. So like, I guess my dad as a kid like would get these crazy stamps. Anyway, we're going off topic.
Nope, that's fine. I don't mind that.
The stamp collection. So that was one thing. He had like trading cards and, you know, concert T-shirts and just a bunch of cool shit. And I'm going through these boxes over the course of several days, and I had kind of went through the stuff at my mom's house before, just very quickly before I brought it all home. And I didn't realize that there was this one like manila envelope, you know, those old orange envelopes with like the metal closure. So there was one of those envelopes at the bottom of one of the boxes. And one day I'm going through things. I pulled this out. I'm like, what's in here? Flip it over. It says Star Wars on it. And I was like, huh, okay. I opened it up. There are 14 issues of the original Star Wars Volume 1 run, including issue number 1. That was the first in the stack. And none of them had boards. They were just bagged. And they were stuffed into this envelope, you know, with God knows what on top of it. Stored in a box for like more than 15 years in a basement. It's a miracle that they were not completely destroyed. But they weren't. I mean, the issue 1 that I have is probably like a 5 or a 6.0, like estimate grade. Like it's in decent condition. And something about it just like made me pause, and I left my, you know, the area where I was sorting through things, and I took them into the kitchen and I sat down and I like pulled them out, and I was just like, these are so cool. Like then I started doing some research and I found out they were from the 70s, right when the movie came out, like all that stuff. And at the time, like I had no idea like what that corner box meant with like the issue number and like the month. Like I did not even know. I had no idea what I was looking at. So yeah, that's how it started. And it turns out that particular day of this whole saga of me rooting through things was my dad's birthday. And I didn't realize it until like kind of after the fact. I was like, whoa, I think my dad's birthday was in January. Like I better check this. I better ask my mom. Like, and sure enough, it was that particular day. And because he died when I was so young, so it wasn't a day that like I remembered, wasn't a day that was on my calendar. Like it wasn't a day that my little brother would text me, like none of that. So I truly didn't know. And something just told me like that it was special that I found those. Like I felt different when I opened up that envelope, and the fact that it was his birthday. And also, I think it was like the day before or that morning, I got an advertisement like on Facebook for a comic shop in my area, which was like, why would I get that?
So it's all these little poke.
Yeah, and something just told me like that I I was meant to find those, and I was meant to finish the collection for him, because my mom said that they would go to like antique shops and stuff, and he would always look in the back for comics to see maybe if they had them. They were like big into antiques, and where we lived in Virginia, they had a lot of that type of stuff around the area. And so yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna finish this collection for him. That's my goal. That's where it's gonna start. That's where it's gonna end, and I'll feel good about it. And boom, you know. But now you see where it's led me.
Did you like as soon as you saw them, did you be like, I need to finish this, or is it just like that idea came later to you?
It came to me like, I don't know, the same day, the next morning.
Okay.
This was a very quick process. Like, from me finding the books in the box to me going to my local shop and seeing if they had any more Star Wars comics, that was like maybe 3 days.
Okay.
So it was like, I immediately knew I wanted to finish the collection for him. Knowing nothing about comics, I just said, well, you know, if he was hunting for these, and even on the envelope, he had written like what issues that he had. You know,
how many were in there? 15, you said?
14.
14. Okay.
Yeah, they were all like the early ones, like issue 1. I think the latest one was maybe like issue 27 or something like that.
Okay.
But I thought, hey, you know what? Why not? This will be fun. I can learn about this stuff. I can, you know, go to my local shop. The first day I went to that shop, like, I had such a good time, like talking to the owner. I was there for like 2 hours.
That's awesome.
He taught me a lot. I got to hunt, and then I decided, you know, if I'm going to be doing this, I might as well have like another character or two that I should look for so I can have my own little collection. And that's when I started with Ghost Rider and Son of Satan. And it led me to like Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight. And now it's just...
What was it about Ghost Rider? Because there's no like from Star Wars to Ghost Rider, like it's a galaxy away.
So but random. Yes. So I didn't want to collect like Spider-Man or Batman, you know, because like there's just so much to collect for those characters, and I wanted to focus more on something that was kind of like horror related, which I at the time thought was more like obscure, under the radar. And when I saw Ghost Rider, I was like, I never saw the movie or anything, like I didn't really know.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, there's this flaming skull on a motorcycle. How much more badass can you get?
Right.
Like that's what I'm gonna collect. Like that's the type of stuff I like, you know. And then it just kind of spiraled.
That's awesome. So when you've completed the Star Wars one, right?
Yeah, I completed it. Also for Christmas, John, Mr. Moonlit, bought me the last 2 issues that I needed to complete the run.
Wow.
Those are probably the only comics he's ever bought in his life. Or he went on eBay, he knew which ones that I needed, and he went on eBay and he bought those for me. So
that's amazing. But they're all raw. You didn't get anything graded?
No, nothing's graded at this point. They're all raw. They're all newsstand, because the 14 books were all newsstand. Wow. And at the time, like, I didn't know what that even meant, but I just wanted them to match. Like,
yeah. Well,
like
back in the 70s, that was just a way. Like, I mean, there weren't many comic shops around, so most people's access to them were truck stops, bus stops, convenience stores, stuff like that. So it completely makes sense. Yeah. And
now I've learned, being in the hobby for a while, that the newsstand versus direct thing, there's a whole kind of like shift on when it matters, when it doesn't, depending on the year and all that. But I'm kind of OCD when it comes to certain things. And that was one thing that I stuck with, because I figured, well, I started with 14 newsstand copies. I'm going to continue that. And so that's why it took me a little bit longer, I think, to finish, because I didn't want to settle for just the direct editions.
Well, you weren't in a rush as well. Like, I mean, this was...
Yeah, no rush.
So, okay, I want to ask a question. So when you you first walked into the shop, you're like, okay, you have it in your head, I'm gonna complete this for my dad. It's a goal I set. You walk into this comic shop and you go hunting for the first time. How was that feeling? Do you remember that feeling?
Yeah, it was weird. I felt a little awkward.
Okay.
But then, so first, before I went in, I called.
Okay.
I called them, and so now I'm very close with the owner, Keith, of To Be Continued Comics in Crofton, Maryland. He's amazing, him and his partner, Frankie. But I called, and Keith answered the phone, and I was like, hi, I'm looking for Star Wars comics. Do you have any? He's like, yeah, we do.
Sure.
Yeah. He's like, what are you looking for? And then I talked to him a little bit. And so when I went in the next day, like, he remembered me. Because I came in and I said, hey, like, can you show me where the Star Wars books will be? And he's like, you called me the other day, didn't you? I was like, yeah, that was me,
There you go.
But I felt a little intimidated, going in as a female. But luckily that day was slow. It was only, there was only me, the owner, and one other guy in the shop.
Okay.
So that kind of eased me into it. And they were both super nice and taught me a lot and made me feel more comfortable about being there. This is a little side story, very quick.
Okay.
So,
No, sure. Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
So I told you Ghost Rider was the first character that I wanted to collect. And so I also asked him, I said, yeah, I think I want to try to look for these Ghost Rider comics, right? And he was like, well, I got a Ghost Rider book for you. It was on the wall behind the counter. It was Marvel Spotlight 5. Okay. It was a raw copy.
Okay.
Probably like maybe, I don't know, 5.0 or so, like mid-grade copy.
Yeah.
And I asked him, oh, well, what's up with that? He said, well, that's the first appearance of Ghost Rider. And at the time, like, I didn't really understand, like, the importance of that. And so, but I asked him, oh, that's cool. It's a cool cover. Like, how much is it? And he told me $200. Okay.
Sorry.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I see where you're going.
And I was like, no, are you out of your mind? I can't spend $200 on a comic book. No way. I was thinking more like $20 or less.
Right, yeah.
So I ended up buying, a few different Ghost Rider books for like maybe $5-10.
Right.
And I walked away, and that book was gone the next day. Because we chatted about it later, because I always tell him that's the biggest regret to this day I'll ever have is not buying that from you. Because I had no idea what you had, and the price that you were letting it go for was insane.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, some guy came in like the next day and scooped it up. So.
But even back then, that was probably super cheap for that book.
Yeah.
Just not to make you. I don't want to make you feel bad at all, because I want it to be a happy conversation.
Oh, look at you!
Well, I'm the same way. When I was younger, I had a few characters that Punisher and so on and so forth, but also Ghost Rider. But I also didn't know. So at some point when I got back into collecting, it was on my radar.
Okay.
And, knowing it's the first appearance, but
yeah,
this is my absolute
That's not a 9.8, is it?
No. This is the cherry. This is the cherry on my collecting.
Ooh, okay, that is beautiful.
Yeah,
4.5, solid.
4.5,
it looks great from here.
It presents really well. It's a beautiful copy, but. Yeah, again, our chat here, it's not about like showing off books and stuff, but because of course you have to show me your copy. That's amazing. I can't believe I didn't notice it behind you the whole time. I love that's the crown jewel of my collection, 100%.
Yeah. And I'm actually working on getting a copy of that book from the same shop, same guy.
Okay. Awesome.
So he, as part of a deal more recently, or a trade that he worked out, he acquired like a maybe 2.0-ish raw copy of that book, and he's been holding it for me, and I've been kind of like paying him little by little, and he's...
Oh, okay, so you actually own it. It's yours.
Well, Yes, not yet. I don't have it in my hands, but
to some degree, it's like it's earmarked for you.
Yeah, and so I think that's going to be really special when I finally get that home.
Wow.
Just because it's from the same shop, from the same guy. Now it's not as great. It's probably going to be. It's at least twice as much, if not more, than that one copy. But anyway,
if you get a chance and you go to the shop, can you please send me some pictures? I want to see it. I would love to see it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So the day that he brought it in, that I saw it and we chatted about it, it's been in his storage unit ever since. And some, when I go in there, I'm like, you still have it? Like, it's okay. Like, it's like, you sure? Like, he's like, yes, I got it for you. So.
Okay. No spoilers here to anybody that's watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know you want it to be a big.
That'll be the day. Yeah. That'll be probably the biggest book that I've bought up until now. Once I get that.
That's amazing. Because even at two, like for me, when I'm like, I mean, again, this is not talking about books, but it's just a very quick thing. For me, when I'm looking at books of that age, silver, even some earlier bronze, whatever, I personally like between the 4 or 5 to like 6, 5. And sometimes even a little bit lower because they present well. Like when you're talking like 1s, whatever, they're just they have issues, right? But even some 2 5s, they present so well. Like it depends where things are going wrong with the book. So I would love for you to send me some pictures because a 2 5 can look awesome. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm with you. Like, as far as like the 0.5s and the 1.0s and stuff, when you get into like golden age or like, big keys for silver age, like, maybe depending. But yeah, like bronze age stuff, I'm personally totally fine with mid-grade copies. Yeah. I know a lot of people when they're into slabs or you're like into selling and stuff. Me, not so much. I haven't really gotten to that point in my collecting journey so far. So yeah, me, like for a mid-grade copy of a book that I love is fantastic in my book.
Yeah. Just owning it, period, is the best thing ever. Right.
Yeah. So. And if my collecting progresses to the point where I can upgrade that later,
right.
through selling, through trading, whatever, great. Yeah. But for now, I'm just slowly working on building my personal collection because I'm very new to everything.
Well, same here too. But I think one of the things that I connected with you was like I'm also into like Werewolf by Night. I'm into Dracula. I'm into Ghost Rider. So you kind of connect with those people. You're like, oh, I see what they're collecting. Oh, I see what they're posting. Oh, I see what they're into. So you gravitate towards those kind of people as well, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. And that's like some of my closest friends in the community are people like yourself that, when you see people posting, sharing, talking about books that are in your same wheelhouse, you immediately bond over that. And for me, that's basically Bronze Age horror. That's like what I love. I've branched out quite a bit. I do collect some like X-Men and different things, but
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's the best in my opinion. Marvel in the 70s just had some wild shit.
they were in a groove. They went through some things. They went through a slump and they went through a terrible period, which we all recognize, but man, the stuff that they were doing in the 70s was just fantastic. Some brilliant creators, some awesome artists, like everything was just, I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I love that you told us that story. And again, I connected with you when I didn't really know the whole story about like, with the Star Wars and your dad stuff, but I knew part of it, and I connected with you because my dad wasn't into collecting, but it's just that sort of connection. You losing your father, I lost my dad, so it was kind of part of that. So I appreciate you kind of sharing that, and that brought you to your channel, which is awesome, and it brought you to this community, which is amazing. So I appreciate you retelling that story for us.
Yeah, well, thank you for allowing me to, and sorry if that I feel like that was a little long-winded.
I love it. I love it.
It's kind of hard to like break it down into like a concise story, but you know, it means so much to me, and I think that's why like this isn't just some throwaway hobby for me,
right?
Because of the way that it started and all the little connections, and there's so many more synchronicities and like things with numbers. I'm big into that stuff. So many different things happened around the beginning of this journey for me that it was just meant to be, 100% meant to be for me. And even without that, I mean, I would have never discovered the hobby without that happening. Right. But I truly love it and enjoy it. And reading the comics and the art and the history, I have such an appreciation for it. And I'm just so glad that I found those books on that day. And it has led me to where I am now, like a complete snowball, rabbit hole, domino effect, like whatever you want to call it. And if you would have told me 2 years ago I would have a YouTube channel, I would have laughed and told you that you are insane, and I would never have a YouTube channel for what, you know?
I know, that's awesome.
So here we are.
Here we are. Well, before we get it, I've got we're gonna kind of, I don't want to keep you too longer, but we've got a questionnaire coming up. But I just give everybody maybe a sneak peek into the future, like if you have anything planned, or if you're just going to kind of continue what you're doing. It doesn't have to be like, you know, anything concise, just like a kind of a snapshot of something, you know, what Moonlit's going to look like in the future.
Sure. So like I said, I'm still kind of figuring things out, but at the very least, I want to continue with my comic book spotlight show once a month. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I have that kind of planned out for the next several months with topics and guests. And so that's going to kind of keep my channel anchored, at least for a once a month show. And then in between, I have space to maybe do another comic book review or a movie review or a series, and like we talked about, an artist or creator spotlight show, or you know, kind of anything that may come up that I want to talk about, that I want to invite friends on to geek out with me about, I'll do it. And in addition to making guest appearances on channels such as yours, which thank you again so much for having me. And keeping up with this has been so fun so far. And you know, Instagram is great. I love sharing my collection on my Instagram page, and you know, chatting with everybody in DMs. And so yeah, that's kind of my plan. Is I don't want to say I'm just winging it, but kind of I'm just winging it, and I'm just going with the flow. And we'll see. Ask me in a year, maybe things will have changed. I don't know.
Okay. We'll reconnect and then find out again. Yeah, like I mean, I understand. Like it's an organic process, and you just like there's no pressure. You just for a lot of people to like produce stuff. I know other people have consistent things that they do all the time, which is cool. But like, I'm also like the mind, like you just kind of like you do what you can and you fit it in when you can, and that's it, right?
Yeah, like I would like to be consistent with uploading, and I'd love to be able to say
it's hard.
Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm going to come out with content, but realistically, just the way like my schedule is and my life and work and everything, like I don't think I could do it full time, and I don't really have enough content to put out there. So I'd rather just have like a once a month thing, and then I can do like what I did for Philadelphia or Moon Knight, and do like a weekly limited series. Yeah, and you know, eventually I would like to start doing maybe some haul videos like by myself, which is it's gonna be something new for me, but I can always try that. And maybe putting together some footage from conventions. I actually, from Three Men, from their swap, like I said, John brought his camera, and we have some video and photo footage, but we're both so busy that like we've been just taking a few minutes here and there to kind of like edit and compile this stuff. And he told me earlier, he was like, yeah, I worked a little bit more on the video, like so it'll probably be like 3 months from now that we'll put that out. But you know, just to get us kind of like familiar with the editing software and just being creative in a different way. So so who knows what you'll see from my channel in the future.
Nice. Yeah, excellent. All right, so I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I did tell you that I have it's just 10 questions. So don't be super nervous, and it's not pizza or burger. It's just to kind of like, I mean, we got to know you a lot better in this hour here, and I'm honored for that. But it's just some questions to find out just a tiny bit more about yourself, and it's a questionnaire from the original show Inside the Actor Studio. James Lipton would ask his guests this. They're usually Hollywood actors and actresses, but it was from Bernard Pivot. He had a French entertainment show, and he originally came up with these questions. So, without further, yes.
I was going to say, since you mentioned that backstage and now, like, I really want to go back and watch those because I didn't know. Yeah, I had no idea. Really good.
And I think he's cast away, but there's a ton of them, and they're awesome. Like any actor you can think of has been on the show, and there's so many of them. Yeah, you find them all on YouTube. They're great shows. So, and there's some amazing answers too.
Okay, no pressure.
Right. No pressure. So, are you ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And it's super simple. So, first question: what's your favorite word?
Favorite word?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably like, I feel like I say awesome a lot. I don't know. That's such a lame answer. I don't have a favorite word. Oh, you know what? Yes. We're going to go with love.
There you go.
Love.
Right.
Love.
Okay.
Love. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So knowing that, what's your least favorite word?
Hate. We'll go hate.
Okay.
Opposite. Yeah.
All right. Sure. And these next ones, it's not so much literal. It's just it could be pretty much anything. What turns you on?
Passion. Yeah.
Like when you see passion in other people.
Yeah. Just seeing people be passionate about something, whether it's like in an intimate sense or whether it's something that like music or a hobby or family or love. Like, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What turns you off?
People being too negative, like being so. You have to try to stay positive about things in life, and it's easy to kind of like get yourself down and get yourself into this terrible mindset. And I just hate when people can't break themselves out and kind of just see things for what they could be. And so people that are too negative, I can't be around that. I don't like that energy.
Yeah, and as you get older, you have less tolerance for that.
Yeah, negativity and drama, unnecessary drama.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go with like thunderstorms, rain and thunderstorms.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Don't like being in them, but I will love to sit on the porch and listen to them any day.
Yeah. I just found a channel that I guess a lot of people tune into, and it's just the sound of rain and like thunderstorm and people sleep to it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm already going back and like totally hating my answers for favorite and least favorite words. So this is going well.
Oh, it's okay. Again, they're just like, it's easy. Just you can't go back because that was the thing that came here. It was the first thing. And you said it for a reason. It's all good.
Sure.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, the TV static.
Oh, really?
Especially, well, because I have some kind of like scary memories associated with like
poltergeist.
Yeah, like TV static or like that. The sound on the TV when they're doing like a alert, like the testing, like that. Yeah. So anytime like a loud TV static comes on, like I can't. It freaks me out. And it's just like, like you just want to claw your ears off type of thing.
I do the same thing with sirens. If I hear sirens, I'm like,
oh. Yeah.
Okay, I love hearing everybody's answer to this. It's the first thing that comes to your head. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Plain and simple, period.
Totally, yeah. You can use it so many different ways.
Right?
Yeah.
It could mean awesome. It could mean something terrible. You could be
Yeah,
telling people
totally.
off, or you could be like, "You're amazing."
Yeah. I say it more than I should.
I swear like a sailor too. So,
Yeah.
So what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Realistically or like hypothetically?
Anything. What profession? This is like a dream of yours.
I would love if I had the talent and the ability to be a musician in some sense, whether it was singing or with an instrument, but I have such an appreciation for that process. Mm-hmm. And whether, from sitting down with friends and coming up with a new melody, or the songwriting process, the recording process, and all different genres too. Like, I just wish that I was able to join that realm in some form or fashion rather than just a fan and a consumer of it. But unfortunately, I don't like to sing. I feel like I can't sing. And with instruments, I can play the piano a little bit, but that's it. So
it's okay. You can have that dream, right?
Yeah, that would be my dream. Even if it was just a hobby and not a way to make a living, I would just love that.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So, what profession would you not like to do?
Oh, God, there's so many.
What's top of the list?
Would I not like to do? I guess I would never want to work in the medical field. So I would never want to be like a doctor or a nurse. And I have so much respect for those people, but personally, I don't think I could ever deal with that emotionally and physically.
It's stressful too.
Yeah. A lot of responsibility and just it's a heavy job.
And I also have respect for them. Like,
it's like one of my best girlfriends is a hospice nurse, and I don't understand how she does that. But those people are true angels. Like, I can't even. But I don't think I could ever. There's so many terrible professions out there, but that's just the one that came to mind because, you also have to have so much respect. Yeah,
it's hard on the heart. I know. Okay, so this last question it's a little bit religious based, but just like take it very casually. It has no like. Okay. So if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh my goodness, this is a deep one. I don't know. Maybe like an exact quote, I don't know, but maybe to just tell me that like I don't have to continue to like think about the past anymore, that I made the right decisions, that everything was okay. Because I do a lot of thinking, like overthinking about past situations, or did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? Did I leave the right impression on someone? Like, could I have been kinder? Could I have, changed somebody's life in a different way? Like, just to have that burden lifted, and to just know that, I did right. I lived right. I don't have to second guess, like, you're here for a reason. Basically, I guess I would want him to say that you're here for a reason.
Perfect. And then come on in, enjoy the party.
Right. And relax. And it's all over now. Like, you can rest.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great. Well, that's it. You survived.
Oh my God, barely.
But it's fun. It's just again, it's a different way to get to know a tiny bit more about you, right? It's just like, again, it's a little bit more. They're pretty simple questions. But, the whole process, this whole thing is just so that people can understand a little bit more about you and the channel, and just a little bit more about you, because sometimes some people are just figureheads, right? And it's just like, there's books behind you, and it's just you, and it's just a channel. So I wanted to do this so that people can get to know Michelle a little bit better. So thank you.
Well, I really appreciate it. And I think those questions were pretty fun. The thing is, my favorite and least favorite word, I'm such an indecisive person that I'm going to like think of 5 different words that I would have rather said, but I'll stand by love and hate. You know what I mean? A little bit of a cop-out answer, but that was the toughest one. But that was great. I really appreciate that.
You know what I've had? I've had people message me like a few days later, and they're like, "Oh, I had those questions. I started thinking about them a little bit more and more, and it makes you think about yourself too." So.
Yeah, it is. That was really cool. Thank you for doing that and for having me on and spotlighting me as a brand new YouTuber and a new collector and just someone who appreciates this community and the friendships that I've made. This means a lot to me. So.
Well, thank you for joining me. So. We're going to call it there. I'm going to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Michelle, for joining me. It's been an amazing hour to sit down and know you that much better. I appreciate it. Is there anything else to say before we say goodbye?
No, just thank you again, and thank you to the community for being so awesome. And keep on rocking, guys.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye.